Welcome back, guys. This is Curtis. This is Gaming with Austin. And today, we're on episode 28 right here. And today, we're gonna finish planting off those potatoes. Maybe start planting some carrots too. And with the potatoes, I'm setting up the guideline to make sure I don't exceed that guideline. Because, you know, this is pretty important. And you're making a ginormous farm. Like that. Sometimes the XSplit Gamecaster tends to crash sometimes. Might talk to them about on the forums about updating it to prevent crashing. With the GeForce RTX 2080 Ti, it's gonna cost you $1,000 for the graphics card itself. Which means most of us will not be able to go for SLI. Plus, who needs RTX 2080s and SLI anyway? Because that is just overkill. And eventually, as this gets more defined, the community gets more defined, frame rates might end up dropping eventually. Because it's going to become, slowly but steadily, it's going to become more graphically demanding. And computationally demanding too. The problem with computationally demanding games is that they require pretty powerful CPUs that use a lot of power. Our goal is to try to conserve energy as much as we can. Oops. Eventually, the GT1030 that's powering the system's graphics, it's eventually going to get overwhelmed over the course of a couple of years within the series. For Season 2 of the Utopian Community series, I'd start replacing the grass path blocks with stone blocks. And eventually, stone would be replaced by concrete. And the stone blocks will make it a bit more modern, less like Stone Age. And eventually, the stone blocks will be replaced by concrete. As a way to upgrade the infrastructure. Eventually, there'd be really tall buildings. Replacing those houses in Minecraft. Because technology will advance over the course of several hundreds of episodes. And eventually those grass block paths will be replaced by stone. Once I start hitting a target population of 12,000, the series would be finished. I'd go on to a new Minecraft series. As time goes on. Because eventually, one thing they need to update Minecraft about is the transportation. Like bicycles. The reason why the bulls you see at the rodeos tend to buck around is because they have a tight waistband around them. And they have the bull riders wear those spurs. The rodeo is pretty cruel sport. Bullfighting's just as abusive. One of those things you'll see in the rodeo is the toro totter, which is actually a jackass stunt. Where you have to dodge the bull on a teeter-totter. The reason the farm is pretty huge is because I want to add a bit of realism to it. I like to make it as close as possible to reality. When it comes to entertainment, don't go to a circus that uses animals, because a lot of times the animals tend to be abused a lot. With bull hooks, whips, and terror. Which is why Barnum and Bailey Circus ended up losing attendance numbers because of that. You know, we can keep the circus tradition alive without abusing animals. We just gotta educate ourselves. That is important. And education is pretty important in helping us spread veganism to the world. We're doing this as a way to fight global warming. We're doing it as a way to fight animal abuse. We're doing it to help fight obesity epidemics. The problem with the meat industry is they're really abusive. Because all they care about is money. All they care about is money. They don't care about the welfare of animals, all they care about is money. Nothing but money. The truth is, the best... you can't fight capitalism without going vegetarian. Going vegetarian is a pretty important step if you want to fight capitalism. Which is growing, right? Number of vegetarians is growing. When it goes to capitalism, it's responsible for a lot of the problems we have now, including war, crime, poverty, famine, exploitation, abuse, stuff like that. Truth is, we have to help the poor more than ever. Because the cost of a house, it's growing pretty fast. Faster than inflation. One thing we need to do is let inflation catch up. In Africa, surviving on minimum wage is next to impossible. It's even harder if you're in Africa, if you're living in Africa, because the government is pretty corrupt. Governments of Africa tend to be pretty corrupt. Crime tends to be kind of rampant over there, with tribal wars, religious violence, also known as the Holy Wars. Like the song Holy Wars, The Punishment Due by Megadeth. It starts off with a chromatic reverse gallop. It's like a reverse gallop, except there are different notes involved within one gallop. 3 notes per gallop. 3 different notes per gallop. Like what Dave Mustaine did in the beginning. Also known as the Holy Wars, part of the... And after the Holy Wars, after that, there's something called the Punishment Due. Which is used to refer... It refers to the Punisher. With Thor's hammer, it's not just Thor that can lift it. Other Marvel characters can lift it too. Yes, even some DC characters can as well, including Superman. The Holy Wars has the gallop. Along with the Trooper. And Barracuda by Heart is nothing but gallops. It's a pretty gallopy song. Has a lot of galloping in it. Similar to what you'll see in Iron Maiden. Except with Iron Maiden, their gallops are heavier. They sound a lot heavier. Like... that. And also, Run to the Hills. Run to the hills. Run for your lives. also used in punk rock too, like Urban Struggle by the Vandals. The reverse gallops used in thrash and death metal songs, usually. The reverse gallops used in heavier genres of heavy metal, like thrash and death metal. Especially Cannibal Corpse's Hammer Smashed Face. And Death Clock's Mermaider. With the heavy metal is becoming the trend for the 2010s. It was the trend in the 90s and 2000s. How did metal make a comeback in 2010s? Judas Priest. Metallica. Like I'd want to self-destruct. Like that. It has a lot of galloping in it. The gallops sound so fast it sounds like just one note instead of three, because of how fast the gallop is. The song called Power Slave by Iron Maiden has a slower gallop, but not as slow as Holy Diver by Dio. By Ronnie James Dio. As the gallop gets faster, it sounds more thrashy sounding. Or maybe death metal sounding. Especially with Cannibal Corpse and Morbid Angel. Cannibal Corpse talks about zombies, Morbid Angel talks about Satan. And religious criticism. Deicide straight up talks about Satan. As Glenn Benton is a theistic Satanist, meaning he actually does worship Satan. He often brags about it in his songs. Basically, people from all over the world would be able to get together and work in this sustainable community. Food would be free for all, except food would be free for all. There would be rationing to make sure everybody has enough. Want to know what a slaughterhouse smells like? Probably horrible. And some heavy metal bands like Carcass, their music talks about animal rights issues, like factory farming, animal hunting, overfishing, puppy mills, stuff like that. Because, you know, puppy mills tend to be pretty abusive. And neglectful. If you're gonna breed dogs, don't do so for profit. Because that's just abusive. It's best to sterilize your animals to prevent future euthanasia, and also to prevent more suffering to the stray animals out there. Because, you know, overpopulation causes a lot of suffering when it goes to animals. Like, especially our pets. If I had a chicken, I'd rather have one as a pet instead of use it for food. I'd rather have a chicken as a pet. Will I feed my chicken if I had a chicken? Probably gonna feed chicken some scraps. In fact, some people have farm animals as pets too. For me, I'd rather not use animals for food. Unless I'm in a famine of some sorts. Like a nuclear famine. Or if the animal dies from natural causes like old age related causes. Mom? What? Who is calling me? Okay, I thought someone was calling me. Back to the game. And if I'd rather have farm animals as pets. Like chickens, turkeys. If I had a hen as a pet, I'd probably take her eggs. If there are no male chickens around. Because with hens, they tend to have their periods every day. This may be about to wrap up this video, but before I go, don't forget to leave a like if you liked this video, dislike if you disliked it, subs if you loved it, bell icon for to be a member of the notification squad, like to be notified. Thank you for watching, and as always, once I get this done, we're done. Peace out.